This is part 2 of chapter 1 of A Realm Retold. If you haven't seen part 1, please watch the previous video and then come back here. In part 1 we detailed the beginning of the Ul'dah scenario, whilst also our journey towards becoming a scion. Our next step is dealing with the primal threat. We are told that there is a password used to know if other people are members of the Scions. It is Wild Rose. This may come in handy later. We learn that the Scions are actually Sharlayan scholars. Sharlayans tend to keep to themselves and chart the history of Eorzea. Wars very much go against their way of life, and they even sent envoys pleading to the Garlean Empire to stop its advances. Even when the 7th Umbral calamity was predicted, they still chose to not warn any of the nations as they didn't believe in changing history. This was until Louis Soir decided that it was time for Sharlayan to spread the knowledge that it had and warn the nations about the upcoming calamity. He took his most trusted pupils and went around Eorzea aiding where needed. They called themselves the Circle of Knowing. We learn that some of the Scions were previously members of the Circle of Knowing. Everyone introduces us to a different member. Yida, Papalmo, Thancred, Y'shtola, Urianja, Minfilia, and Tataru. All of these, except for Minfilia and Tataru, were previously part of the Circle of Knowing. Just before we can get settled in, it seems that Minfilia has a job for Thancred to do. A caravan has been attacked. The owners have been kidnapped. It seems that they were carrying a cargo of aether crystals, which seems to be stolen. No doubt it's the Amalja, who worship a primal known as Ifrit. We are asked to assist Thancred to get a better idea as to what the Scions do. We were sent to Camp Drybone and spoke with Isambard, who offers his full cooperation to our investigation. The plan was to use a false priest as bait and then ambush the Amalja to capture them for questioning. The Amalja seems to have fallen for it, but it goes very wrong. The false priest had an insider supplying him with information that told him he was going to be used here as bait, so instead they decided to form an alliance with the Amalja to capture fresh humans, but they were to be left alone. We attempt to fight off the Amalja forces, but the numbers are too many. We are unable to come out victorious. We awake, imprisoned within the Amalja stronghold, and are sent to the Lord of Inferno, Ifrit. To what end though? Why would the Lord of Inferno want to see us? We find out even the ones who betrayed us were captured and brought to Ifrit. Ifrit can be seen breathing blue flames, but they are cool. They do not hurt. The soldiers start acting weird and seem to be infatuated with the Lord of Inferno. However, we are unaffected by it, and it seems to be due to Hydaelyn's influence. Ifrit does not take kindly to that and forces a battle between us two. The battle was tough, but we end up taking him out. Upon defeating him, we find another aether crystal like the one we found at the beginning of our journey. This prompts a vision bringing us back to the magic circle, but now another section is glowing brightly. Our purpose here is very clear. To get more of these crystals we must slay more primals. We also seem to be resistant to its spell that causes people to become his thrall, which is going to come in handy. Nerotor Skava is found spying on our defeat of Ifrit, saying that its power is too weak. Apparently their primary objective is to see that Ifrit was defeated. We aren't sure why as of yet, but he wonders if we will be a nuisance in the future. Oh boy, what he doesn't know. We return to Minfilia. We are finally given the knowledge to know how primals are summoned. For a primal to stay in their physical form, they must consume aether. The stronger the primal, the more amount of aether that is required to do so. Aether exists everywhere in this world, but that alone won't be enough to sustain primals. The kind of aether they need are in the form of aether crystals. For this reasoning, the thieving of caravans carrying crystals can tend to be traced back to that of a primal. When the world is in a bad state, the worshippers will call out to their primals to deliver them from their suffering. That is how they come into physical form. But why do the Amalja capture people? This is because a primal needs worshippers to gain strength. Without worshippers, the primal doesn't gain any power. There will be some who worship the primal willingly, but the majority of the primals used tempering to bend the people's wills to their own. Remember when Ifrit used his blue flames? That was him trying to temper us so that we become his thrall, and he gains strength in doing so. However, we were immune as our gift from Hydaelyn, the Echo, actually makes us immune to tempering. Now we know why the Echo was an important key to beating primals. However, our victory seems to not be won without losses. Thancred pulls us aside to let us know about the tragedy that occurred. We are told that once you are tempered for life, so our fellow immortal flames who were with us at the time actually must be slain, as they will uncontrollably worship Ifrit and attempt to summon him again. Also, them being alive grants him strength. This rallies our reason for wanting to defeat the primals even more, as we would like to avoid as much loss as possible. Our deeds don't come without attention, as we are asked to join a grand company. Obviously, you choose the Immortal Flame as they have a great coat glamour and be on your way. Before we can choose, we are tasked with going to the memorial service for the Battle of Cartanu. The next part is dependent on how you started your game. If you did Limsa Lominsa, then the Battle of Cartanu Memorial is hosted in Limsa Lominsa, and vice versa. As stated, I will just be sticking with the Ul'dah version. Rawbarn has a speech talking about the 7th Umbral calamity and what occurred. It is noted here that he actually lied about how the 7th Umbral calamity took place and instead opted for a different story where Ul'dah stood front and center in blood and gold and made the 7th Legion run low. Then he offers up prayers for the fallen of that battle. However, with how many have fallen, an Ul'dah divided cannot be as strong. Rawbarn is trying to unite the royalists and the monetarists of Ul'dah by convincing the public to not line its pockets with coin, but to support the Sultana and fight for glory. The Sultana rides Rawbarn's arm again and mostly reiterates what he has said, attempting to win over the people. We learn from Alfinawad that each of the company's symbols represents something. Ul'dah's symbol represents a set of golden scales, which balance the jewel of prosperity with the flame of might. Gridania's symbol represents the unity between the Elezen and the Hyur, shown by two serpents entwined together. And Limsa Lominsa's symbol is a crimson field that represents the blood of fallen crewmates, and a ship that represents a pirate's vessel. After the memorial, we are pulled aside to converse with Alfinawad and Alizé. They say they are students of history pursuing remembrance. We talk about the Amaljar and Ifrit, and how Ul'dah just tends to crush any foe in their way. However, Ifrit seems to be summoned with more and more frequency, and each time Ul'dah would go and crush him. But that is not without the loss. Fortunately for them, we came along and are able to smite Ifrit with very little to no loss, which is a huge important step to helping Ul'dah recover. After choosing the best grand company, the Immortal Flames, we are asked to come back to the Waking Sands by Minfilia to meet new faces. We meet Biggs and Wedge, Garlond Ironworks engineers. The Garlond Ironworks is a party of engineers who fled from Garlemald and both contain people from Eorzea and Garlemald. The Scions are keeping them safe to get uses for their engineering prowess. Minfilia tasks us with finding out the Sylphs' true intentions to see if they're attempting to summon their Primal, Ramuh. We aren't sure why, but it seems that the Sylphs are actually unable to summon Ramuh anymore. We are going to investigate to make sure they can't, whilst Gridania is completely preoccupied with Garuda. We agree to this task and are assigned Yida and Papalimo as our companions. We arrive in the Adder's Nest, and it seems we are tasked to talk to the local Sylph village with Yida and Papalimo. The Sylphs are content and not willing to summon Ramuh anymore. After a little bit of dancing for the Sylphs, it seems we were betrayed by a soldier named Laurentus, who was actually working for Garlemald. We defeat the Garlean soldiers, but in the chaos, the Sylph elder Frixio fled to the 1,000 moors of Totorak. Once we made it through to the end of the moor, we are confronted by an Ascian for the second time, but this one seems different. He dons a mask of red, and his black robes are gilded. We learn that this Ascian is named Laha Brea, and he has been watching our every move. He wants to eliminate the Echo, so the one true darkness can appear onto the world. Hydaelyn is warning us about their darkness, but before we could do anything, he sends his dark aether towards a nearby Banemite, which morphs it into an unimaginable size, and it goes into a frenzy. With the Bane Might defeated, we are able to retrieve Phrixio from the moor and return with her in hand. Talking to her prompts a vision showing Garlemald attacking a Sylph village as we are distracted by Laurentus. It seems Nero was up to no good again, but he was here for the same reason we were, to discern if the Sylphs were going to summon their Primal Ramuh. It seems they are close to completing something called the Ultimate Weapon, but we aren't sure what that is and how it links to the Primals. But Nero does mention that its strength rivals that of Dalamud. After our vision, we are told by Phrixio to meet up with her outside, and she'll tell us everything we want to know about Ramuh. The Sylphs have no desire for conflict, and were forced to summon Ramuh to fight Garlemald armies that arrived in their forest. Ramuh has no desire to attack as long as you don't go into the forest of the Touched Ones. We can assume this means the ones that are tempered to him. What we can take away from this is that the Sylphs desire peace and do not want conflict, just like Gridania. We are given a letter to hand into the Adder's Nest, which tells Elder Searsir Khan-e Senna that they are on her side. Just before we leave, we are given a purple aetherite crystal, just like the one we found at Ifrit's body. We again channel into that magic circle, and another section starts to glow. We are officially halfway into our journey, with only 3 crystals left to gather. After taking the missive back to the Adder's Nest, the commander is relieved to learn that the Sylphs have no desire for conflict with Gridania. Just as the commander tells us to report back to Minfilia, we are contacted by her. She is glad to hear that the Ramuh incident has been resolved for now, and requests you to come back to the Waking Sands. Before we arrive, it seems that the majority of Scions have arrived ahead of us, including Alfinoad. It seems that he is working as a Scion too, and has been assigned a mission. We do not know the details of this mission as of yet. As he and Minfilia finish their conversation, we collide in the hallway and exchange smiles. Minfilia and the rest welcome us in. With Ramuh sorted, we can count 2 Primals defeated, with Ifrit and Ramuh gone. It seems like the Lord of Walls, Leviathan, is ignoring the call of his people. Our sights are set on Titan and Garuda. We haven't heard yet from the Maelstrom, who are observing the kobolds, but Gridania is always busy fending off the Ixai as they attempt to summon Garuda. But as of right now, nothing currently sticks out as something to do. We hang back to discuss something important with Minfilia, about the man named Laha Brea, who we met in the moor. Mid-conversation we are interrupted as Tartaru lets out a loud scream. Shocked by it, we rush to her aid, only to find out that it's a sylph named Naraxia, who was sent by Elder Phrixio to aid the Scions whenever needed. Some time passes and the Maelstrom reports to us that the kobolds have summoned the Lord of Crags, Titan, and our assistance is needed to slay the Primal. The problem is that we lack a lot of information about Titan. To go in blind is not worth the losses. We are sent together with Y'shtola to gather information about Titan by speaking to people who defeated the Primal before us, known as the Company of Heroes. We meet a man named Traktum, who was originally part of the Company of Heroes. Upon arriving, he won't tell us anything about the company until we do some tasks for him. Even after doing the tasks, he refuses to tell us until we find out he actually wasn't a part of the company at all. But he did know someone who was. His name was Wasekate. His name was Wasekate, and he worked for Costa del Sol in eastern Lanosca. Before we're able to slay the Primal, we are yet again tested by the original members. After our trials and tribulations, the 5 of them deem us worthy and allow us the opportunity to slay Titan. We learn that the safe way to get to Titan is not to fight our way in, but to use Beastman Aetherite to sneak past the kobolds' defenses. With the help of Y'shtola, we can use the Aetherite to teleport right to Titan. She will attune the unpowered Aetherite we are using and connect it with the Aetherite near Titan, allowing us to safely transport right there. Y'shtola doesn't believe that is possible, but gets provoked into it, as any Sharlayan worth their salt should be able to do it. It seems that we must do this fight alone, as Y'shtola needs to keep power to the Aetherite shard, otherwise we won't have an escape route out of there. It works flawlessly, and we are instantly teleported to the heart of the chamber. The kobolds in their defense summon Titan, Lord of Crags, to bring divine judgment upon us. Titan is aware that we defeated Ifrit, and are unable to be tempered, so immediately starts a battle. It is hard fought, but we defeat the Lord of Crags. Another Aetherite crystal, like all the others, can be seen on the ground. 1 more down, 2 to go. Nira is yet again ready and waiting to see the Primal defeated, and it seems that the Ashian from before, Laha Brea, is working with the Garleans, but we aren't sure what their common goal is. Y'shtola tells us to report to Maelstrom Command and tell him that Titan is no more. They thank us on behalf of Limsa Lominsa and send us back to Minfilia. Before we even get a chance to go back to Minfilia, she congratulates us on our victory. As we return to the Waking Sands, things don't seem right. Something's off. Our comrades are on the floor injured. We spot Noraxia, the sylph who joined earlier, on the floor. It doesn't look good. Our echo connects with her and we have a vision. Immediately after our conversation with Minfilia, the sound of combat can be heard from behind the door. The Garleans are attacking the headquarters of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn directly. Livia Sas Junis is heading this attack and she is looking for us, and is clearly not in the mood. Minfilia allows herself to be taken captive on one condition, that the innocents are spared. Livia Sas Junis completely ignores her demands as her people start massacring our fellow Scions. Noraxia tries to defend Minfilia but is gravely injured during the battle. The vision ends and we are taken back to Noraxia. Using the last ounce of her strength, we learn that we must take refuge in a church located in eastern Thanalan, and that we must save Minfilia at all costs. After this, her hand goes limp. Noraxia seems to have passed on. We will honor her last words and do what she asked of us. To rescue the people, we must first survive. We suspect that Father Illud is a friend. We assume that the password mentioned earlier must help us in this situation. If you forgot the password, it was Wild Rose. Immediately realizing Illud gives us refuge to discuss what happened in the Waking Sands. He doesn't believe what he hears, but understands the graveness of what we have told him. We are granted refuge within the church, and we meet a man named Marquez. He kinda looks familiar, but we are told he is a survivor of the Battle of Cartanu. He seems to be shy and has lost all of his memory, but he is asked to help us settle in. Alfinoad seems to have also found refuge in this church. We find out that the man named Marquez isn't Marquez at all, but actually Sid Nan Garland, the lead engineer of the Garland Ironworks, and we are in dire need of his help if we are to revive the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. Upon hearing this, Marquez is stricken with pain, but realizes that Alfinoad is right. Illud kept Sid's things from the moment he found him, and believed that Sid was like his son returning to him, but he knows that he's destined for great things. We also learn that Alfinoad is named Alfinoad Levelier, and is actually the grandson of Louis Soir. The nations think that the Scions have been destroyed and mourn their death, but it seems that the XI have revived Garuda. And what a better way to show the world that the Scions aren't gone, by defeating the strongest of primals. But to do this we need an airship, and Sid is the man we need to fly that airship. Sid thanks Illud for everything he's done up to this point, and is resolved to fight for what is right. We learn that Sid's airship is named Enterprise. It was taken by some troops in Coerthas after the Calamity. The garrison fell to the dragons quite a long time ago, and we aren't sure if the Enterprise is in one piece. We fight through the Stone Vigil as it is our only lead to go off of for now, and luckily or unluckily enough, we find the Enterprise lies completely intact, just that it lies directly behind a slumbering dragon. We are tasked with keeping watch as Alfinoad and Sid try to sneak past to get to the Enterprise. Our plan seems to be working, but out of nowhere, Laha Brea shows up and is surprised to see that we are going after Garuda, knowing how strong she is compared to the two previous primals. To test our strength, he awakens the slumbering dragon and empowers him with dark aether, ruining our plans. We defeat the dragon and notice that it has a crystal just like the ones we had previously seen, giving us 5 out of 6 of the crystals we need. Our path is clear now. Take the Enterprise to the XI domain and slay Garuda to claim the final crystal. Sid believes that the Enterprise will fly, but it needs repairs before entering the XI domain, because in the state it is now, it will not pierce the Howling Eye. The Howling Eye is a storm that surrounds Garuda's territory. It is said that it will turn anything in its vicinity to dust. Sid has a plan to breach it, but needs to use the power of corrupted aetherite crystals. By using the corrupted aetherite crystal, you can convert the wind aether into not wind aether, and that allows the Enterprise to pierce the barrier. After collecting some corrupted aetheryte crystals and giving it to Sid, the Enterprise is ready. We are about to embark on our journey to Coerthas, to penetrate the Howling Eye with our new fancy corrupted aether crystal technology, but Sid is still unable to remember his past. He doesn't know who he is, or who he flew the Enterprise with. His resolve is weakening, his drive for battle is diminishing, and his lack of knowledge is making him doubt his own strength. By using our Echo, we are granted a vision, which depicts a young Sid in the past. A prodigy he was admired by all, just like his father Midas Nan Garlond. Born and raised in Garlemald, Sid and his father stopped seeing eye to eye after his father was consumed by Dalamud. From the Bozja Incident side quest, we know that Sid was worried about his father's obsessions with the lesser moon Dalamud. We also now know it was due to tempering, because the elder Primal Bahamut resided within. Sid attempted to stop his father from working with Dalamud as it was affecting him. Midas Nan Garlond declared that he should never defy him again, or else there will be consequences. Yet again Sid tried to talk his father out of his plan, but Midas had enough and shot him in the chest, leaving Sid for dead. Sid did survive, but repressed the memory of his father shooting him, as the Bozjan incident happened not too long after. If you want to know more about this, watch the previous video. He was adopted by Gaius von Belzar, but Gaius was also a man who was consumed with ambition, just like his father. So Sid decided to flee from Garlemald to Eorzea with Biggs and Wedge, and created the Garlond Ironworks. At the end of the vision, we appear to Sid and return his memory back to him. With his memory back, he is now more than ready for the upcoming battle. The plan works, and we use the corrupted aether crystals to pierce the Howling Eye. All that is left to slay Garuda herself. Alphinaud states that she is huge, so we can assume everything we have heard so far must mean that she actually is a lot more powerful than Titan and Ifrit. She is not too happy with us breaching her domain, and we are challenged by her. The battle is hard fought with the Lady of Vortex, but in the end we triumph. But it seems that she is not defeated just yet. Her followers start praying, providing her with more power. Alphinaud figures out that she won't fall unless the Ixai stop their praying. Sid and Alphinaud attempt to stop them, but she blasts them away with gale winds. She tries to temper us, but it seems she didn't get the memo from Titan and Ifrit, and we smack her back with our own Aether. The final crystal we need appears from her chest, and we take it. With this, all 6 crystals have been collected, meaning that the light has been restored to its former glory. Somehow, even after all this, Garuda is not defeated, but we definitely did some damage to her. Before anything can happen, Gaius von Belzar arrives to the battlefield. Garuda is still mad about what just happened, but finally realizes that we were touched by Hydaelyn. She starts killing the captive kobolds in Amalja to force Ifrit and Titan to be summoned by them, as they start praying to their gods to save them from their demise. She aims to absorb the other 2 primals to gain power to defeat us. Upon seeing 3 primals, Sid calls for a retreat. Just before anything can happen, a huge, ancient, Allagan machine is dropped right into the center of the battlefield. It makes quick work of Ifrit, Titan, and Garuda, and proceeds to absorb them, gaining increased powers. Gaius refers to the machine as the ultimate weapon, and state that it surpasses all of his expectations. Laha Brir can be seen as well, praising the power of ultimate weapon. Even though it didn't end the way it intended, it seems that the primal threat has been diminished, but ultimate weapon is the new monster that threatens Eorzea. And that concludes Chapter 1, Part 2 of A Realm Retold. I thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. If you're interested in more content like this, consider subscribing. May you ever walk in the light of the crystal.